Hi everyone, I'm Claire.
And I'm John.
And today we're talking about train wreck. Before I go any further, I guess I really want to point out the two potential meanings of this title. Train wreck, obviously there is a literal meaning, train crash, train accident, or perhaps the more idiomatic meaning when we mean something was a total disaster. It was, my party was a train wreck. Everything went wrong, everything was ruined for some reasons.
Yes.
So we're going to discuss both of those potential concepts, and you can wonder what this article is really all about. What products, John, are transported by train in your country?
If you can dream of it, it's transported by train, basically. That's one of the main forms of transportation in America, next to, of course, driving. Freight on the highways versus freight on the railways. But yeah, it's people, rarely, but it can be people. It's hazardous liquids as well. Anyways, that's a little bit foreshadowing. There's also feed for livestock. There's also energy sort of stock as well. Whatever you can think of transporting that needs to be transported from one location to the other is done by railway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it makes sense that it's the heaviest stuff that is transported by rail, surely. And perhaps like raw materials, wood and coal, or even, I've seen, the tanker ones that take petroleum, they say BP on the side, so I think it's petroleum, I guess. Yeah. Heavy stuff, liquids, raw resources. Maybe you have seen or heard about, more likely, a train accident.
Actually, one of the places I lived in just a few years before we moved there had a giant train accident where the train was filled with chlorine, liquid chlorine at the time, causing a giant spill in the area of chlorine. Of course, chlorine gas was released as well, and evacuation. And then years later, when we moved there, not like decades, but a few years later, when it rained, you would still smell chlorine in the air.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was great.
Did anything grow around there?
I don't think we ever went directly to the spill site because probably my parents were, maybe we shouldn't go there. But I assume it didn't grow. I mean, I could only imagine it didn't grow.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but it was close enough that you could smell it usually the springtime.
Oh, gosh.
Instead of petrichor, it was chlorine.
Didn't they used to use chlorine gas in one of the wars, the world wars, as, poison gas to kill the soldiers?
I believe... No. It was probably some sort of gas.
A different gas.
I know there's a mustard gas, and then there's also something probably with chlorine. You combine chlorine and another one to create a deadly gas.
I see.
That's what I know.
Okay. Maybe it's not actually deadly. Because I guess there's some people still in that town alive.
That is true. It's not directly deadly, but of course if it displaces the air molecules enough that you can't get oxygen, you'll die. But there's also a lot of sicknesses that can come from it.
I see. So hopefully by now you've probably been able to guess that this is not just any old chaotic disaster, this is a literal train wreck. So let's jump into the article, read the summary or the full thing if you've got time, and we'll discuss it with you after that.
Train wreck. A train carrying hazardous chemicals derailed in Ohio, causing damage to the environment and angering locals. The train lacked special brakes that might have helped prevent the accident. Residents had to be evacuated for 5 days, and since returning, they have complained of a bad smell, as well as skin and breathing problems. The railroad has promised to make things right for people affected by the disaster, but their representatives were too scared to show up at a town hall meeting to discuss it.